Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. That last one abruptly ended. Drago is still around. We don't know what happened to Tim. He's missing in action. We hope he's okay. We hope it wasn't the Ukrainians who got him. That's a joke. We know that he's okay, and it wasn't the Ukrainians that got him. Thank God. It was just internet issues, and it was not his neighborhood being hit by Ukrainian drones. Everybody, you might know Drago Bosnic, now a fellow researcher at globalresearch.ca. I've yet to hand him his certificate. He's also
man, I already feel superior to everyone.
He's you can see his ego is off the screen. That's why his face is so big. In case you haven't figured it out, we don't take anything seriously here. This is a comedy show. Drago actually writes for actual newspapers and stuff. He's a journalist and commentator and stuff like that. But he comes here when he's bored, and we make jokes about the stuff that's going on in the world, basically. Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality. I have to say this every time. I still have to get that banner going across the screen. Maybe next episode. Yeah, nothing we say here has anything to do with reality. This is a comedy show. Hi, welcome. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now that that's out of the way. Drago, how you doing?
I'm great. And I mean, I thought about saying long time no see, but it's better not to, right? Even though I did it, I just did it.
Listen, for you and me, it was too long between these recordings because it's been almost an hour now since we had Tim disappear. But it was it always flies by, you know what I mean? But for the subscribers, it's even worse because my uploading schedule is nowhere near as fast as my recording schedule. In any case, long-time subscribers will know that when I have Drago on, that means we discuss the almost weekly news, which are usually at least about a month late, and always at least about 6 months to a year, sometimes even a year and a half ahead of the news cycle. So, subscribe. Also, go check out his articles on infobricks.com, linked in the description. Check out his Telegram also. I didn't say that the last time, but unlike most people who say check the description, I actually personally leave links to people's channels in my description. So if you go look there, you'll actually find the links I'm talking about. Also, hi, if you're new here, I'm usually not this worked up, and don't give long monologues. So Drago and I discussed news that he's written. And last time we were going to discuss something, and then it got interrupted by Tim, and then we had technological difficulties, and we decided to cut the show short because we, meaning I, decided to rage quit. So, now, where is this? Both plus TV. One-man show, people. We were talking about the Macron, and Drago was going to tell us about what he wrote about. Drago, do you want to take it away from here? Because I've been talking for way too long.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, this is real comedy. It's not even, anything serious. Macron wants to, people already know it because it's been a month, as you said, but Macron is planning to use the French nuclear umbrella to protect all of Europe from the evil Russians. And, I went in a bit greater detail on how this is, how viable this is in the article. So I'm going to keep it short here. And I'm just going to say, a country with 290 nuclear warheads wants to protect Europe from a country with 6,000 nuclear warheads. So you can imagine how successful that can be.
I love your webmaster's web art. Shout out to the webmaster in case you're watching. How many nukes did you say they have?
290, and that's
hold on
optimistic.
And how many of them are fireable, as in deployable? Like a third?
Most of them are deployed. I'm going to give them that. But the Russians have around like 5,500 to 6,000, depending on who you ask and the
Wait,
source.
when did the French do a nuke firing test most recently? Like a submarine launched nuclear firing test most recently?
Oh yeah. Well, they do that. They have these M51, if I'm not mistaken, SLBMs. They do those tests quite often, and I think the last one was done last year, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't remember what time exactly. Like, this is their most potent part of their nuclear arsenal. They also have these, but that's another article that we're going to talk about. They have these like air-launched nuclear-tipped cruise missiles that are launched by Rafales and Mirage fighter jets, but those are subsonic and they can easily be shot down by Russian air defenses, which have gotten really good at this, because of the SMO. So. Good luck with that. And fighting the Russian Navy, especially their, attack submarines, well, you're going to need more luck with that. So, yeah.
Yeah. No comment, as I like to say here, when I think of the freedom and democracy practiced by YouTube. By the way, in case you guys didn't know, where is Bothless TV? Joaquin Flores, Putinger's cat, and yours truly did a little video about a sound cannon production by a theater group, and it got sent to. Why am I getting feedback from you? And it got sent to what's it called? Politica. So Politica came across that. And in case you missed it, it was in the video a couple of episodes ago. I'll leave a link. The whole video is worth watching, including the extra special part about the sound cannon that's invisible, like the F-117 is invisible.
And let me just chime in for a second. For those who don't know, Politica is like the Serbian New York Times, pretty much.
Wait, you can't really say that, man, because New York Times kind of is like, it's kind of like a slur, It's like.
Oh yeah. I meant in terms of how prestigious it is because of its age and other stuff. Not because of its
outside of narrative and outside of political leading throughout the years. I'm speaking for both now. Like if an alien came to Earth and was like, what is the newspaper of America? People would say like New York Times, Yeah. What is the newspaper of Serbia? It would be, or even Yugoslavia going back, it would be Politica. All right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. In that regard, like in terms of, how prestigious it is in terms of like how old it is when it started coming out and so on. As for the narrative, I mean, they're pretty far apart, especially because the NYT is ultra extremist, liberal, whatever, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. A newspaper of record is the kind of way you could look at it. Let's put it that way. I can't remember which newspaper actually uses that slogan, but if you know, leave a comment or say something in chat. Also, hi to chat, both here and in Telegram. Chat on Telegram. Wow, guys, thank you so much. You guys are the shit. Like half the memes that you post there that don't make it here, YouTube would not be okay with them. But they're good memes. In any case, one of those memes that was shared, like this one, from Marlena, often describe what's actually going on here rather well. We'll just leave it at that, right, Drago?
Yeah, it's better to do that, I guess.
Let's get to freedom-loving Europe, where those protesters went. They went to Strasbourg. I don't know why they'd go to Strasbourg. Can you turn down the volume on your end? Because I'm getting, even when I put an audio gate... Yeah, even when I put an audio gate, I'm getting an echo from time to time. Yeah, now it's gone. Okay. But it's just sometimes, I guess when I raise my voice a little bit or it picks it up more, that it comes back. So yeah, as I was saying, our students who are students and who want who knows, and when did they want it yesterday, and what do they want it something else, like soon, and most recently wanted to take over our airport and stuff like that, are cycling to Strasbourg because, like, why not? I guess The Hague is like old school, and or maybe too far, and yeah. So I wanted to use that as a segue into recycling Russiagate in Romania, the freedom-loving European country of Romania, where everything is as it should be, and no corruption happens, and no things collapse, and no sound weapons are used. Also, by the way, none was used in Serbia, and no genocide happened in Srebrenica. In case you missed that one, type Srebrenica in the Working Brother channel and have fun, and then type Sound Cannon and then have some more fun. Basically any topic, and if you really want to go deep, go to the Telegram channel or the chat if you want to start losing your sense of reality. All jokes, nothing to do with reality. Drago, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I do that too often these days. People were saying they look forward to it when I interrupt my guests. They actually said that in chat. Anyway, recycling Russiagate in Romania. Drago, please.
Actually, this was a good introduction to what I wrote here. I mean, it's like an outdated news because it's a month old, but it's very relevant because we predicted this. Like we talked about this. A lot of other analysts were talking about this as well. That Europe and Brussels Brussels is essentially a bureaucratic dictatorship. I know, Russian propaganda, right? Let me stop you right there.
No, man, you're a fucking crazy conspiracy theorist. You're so crazy you made me say the F word, which is a very rare thing for me, but it's good I did it past the 10-minute mark because YouTube is sensitive about things like that, like for some reason. In any case, if you're here and you're planning to leave, like if you're here watching this and you're not planning to watch it to the end, just leave now. Just don't watch another 3 minutes. Most of you watch 15 minutes and then like leave, or watch 17 minutes and leave. Why are you here? You're just like taking down the statistics. Share it to people who have longer attention spans, and then let them watch the whole thing. You know what I mean? Also, agencies, if you're here and you say you're watching this, you're not doing a good job if you're watching only 17 minutes and these are like 50-minute episodes. Like, you're missing out on some of the really good humor that I need to cover. Anyway, Drago, sorry I interrupted you again. You were saying something smart. Go on.
No worries. I was mentioning what was going on in Europe and with freedom and democracy, and of course, as we know, Kalin Georgescu, who is supposed to be the next president of Romania, is not democratic enough to be allowed to do that, of course. And why? Because he was part of the group that's called the Vlad the Impaler Command. Now, if you can get any less creative, can you imagine how stupid this sounds? Like Vlad the Impaler, which is supposed to be like a vampire, and command, of course, being like a military organization. And also a team in Russian. I suppose it also plays a role because it's the proof that these guys were working for the evil Putin, right?
Because it's Team Putin. Is that the reference? So if you have team and you're anything, you're automatically Putinized now. Is that what it is?
Of course, and of course, you have this part where they talk about Vlad the Impaler, the Lord Dracula, who wanted to take over freedom-loving Romania, because the legal system in Romania couldn't be better than it is now. And of course, this guy was removed from the polls because he posted stuff on Facebook, and because he was like some of the posts on Facebook and some of the ads that were used to promote him were allegedly paid by the Russians. So that's why I said recycling Russiagate in Romania, because that was also used as a basis for the Russiagate in the United States against Trump.
Can you outline in a minute or a half what actually Russiagate, the original one, was, and then tell us how they're trying to do the same thing there?
Yeah, I mean, the Russiagate was allegedly Russia's support for Trump, and trying to push him to U.S. presidency through Facebook ads. Like, that's the simplest way I can explain it. And it's so ridiculous because, like, anyone can pay an ad for you, right? I mean, even if I don't like you, and of course I would do that because if it would create problems for you, if I don't like you and I want to make sure that you are denigrated because of that, I can also pay ads for you and say, oh, look at this guy, he's being paid by me, or by some other evil dude.
If anybody wants to pay for ads for Working Brother, like, I have no problems with that. Like, you could push Working Brother ads as like Russian propaganda, as Chinese propaganda, as like Iranian propaganda, like all kinds of propaganda. The Working Brother ads, you pay for them, no problem. Like, I support that fully. You know why?
And I join, the call. I wouldn't mind either. So.
But you know why I support that? There's reasons behind everything I do. It is because I'm not eligible for monetization. YouTube decided that a long time ago.
It's like the new, buy me a coffee stuff, right?
Basically. Speaking of the new buy me a coffee, we've got the old buy me a coffee, and then we've got the old Patreon commercial, but now we also have the new Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon commercial. No pressure. If you like to support what I'm doing here, we don't accept sandwiches or USAID any funding, but you can go to the links in the description. Hint, hint, wink, wink. They're actually in the description. And you can go support the work of the Working Brother. Unrelated graphic made by Vex, by the way. Vex Perun from chat. Thank you, and I salute you for all the work that you have done for the Working Brother, because, like, seriously, your contribution has been unbelievable. Anyway, maybe I'll ask Drago if I can show that off camera, and then I'll show it on camera, because Vex made one. Should I show it? Should I find it and show it?
Sure, why not?
Hold on. How am I going to do this? Okay, I think I have a way to do this, but it's going to take a while. In the meantime, you guys can go check out the links in the description. Hint, hint, wink, wink, no pressure. And I can go to Guest Plus Me, and then I can go here and find the next article that we are looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for. Lol. EU backs Islamic terrorists in Syria while Russia U.S. condemn their massacres. This is like a comedy joke that Drago wrote, not based on reality, obviously, because reality is much funnier. Reality is much funnier than what we do here. Drago, you want to please explain this while I go find that picture?
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, and of course, again, this is relatively old news, although unfortunately it's still ongoing. The massacres against the people of Syria are still happening. It's just that the terrorists got smarter doing it because the new democratic government of Syria told their soldiers, let's call them soldiers, although I'm really, struggling to describe them accurately. Savages, I presume, or cavemen would be a more fitting term. They went on to continue the massacre, but they were told not to film it so that we don't get any information about the actual events in Syria. And of course, Christians and Alawites are disproportionately affected, although Sunnis who were hiding, their Christian and Alawite neighbors and friends also got killed en masse in various parts of Syria because, we can't have normal people in democratic Syria anymore. And guess what the EU said? Well, the EU condemned the violence of, wait for it, pro-Assad forces that were that dared to defend themselves against these democratic head choppers. That's pretty much what the article is about. And I went into greater detail.
You're saying you care about Arabs, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
here and there.
I'm a bit old fashioned, you know. I kind of, you
Care
know,
about all people.
I guess like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I really don't want people to get slaughtered. I guess I'm not democratic enough, you know, because you know, all these nice people that took power in Syria, they're the Democrats. They are, you know, implementing Western values in the country. So it's really great, right? Um,
No
as for
comment.
the, you know, you can find for people who have a strong stomach, they can see the details of how democracy looks like in a country that's unfortunate enough to fall under its feet.
Did I run out of cigarettes from all this democracy that we've been discussing? No, I still have one. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, seriously, all those people that are like ignorant or oblivious to what's going on there need to get in tune, because the thing that's been happening there was happening for like what, 15, 11 years? Depends when you started counting. And officially, the revolution anniversary officially was on the same day that the Serbia protest mass thing happened. And if you think that's a coincidence, I have a bridge over some waterfront property all together going for a really good price on the moon. All right? Contact me. Leave a comment. I'll find a way to contact you. We can get that deal done. Moon property, beachfront with a bridge. Also, I found that picture. Drago, are you sure you want to put this on the record? The
Sure,
one from
why
Bex?
not? Go for it.
I didn't think you would not want it on the record. So
I've
this
never
is
looked
motivating.
better in my life.
I look pretty serious too. I don't know where he got the picture. I have to ask him that. But yeah, I mean, he probably got the picture from one of the pictures I posted recently. But the point is, he's really good at this meme making stuff. He's
a freaking genius. Like he should be, if he already isn't, like a meme professional or something. Like I'm pretty sure.
Well, he definitely has some abilities with his graphical art, so I wouldn't be surprised if he is a graphical artist of some sort, you know, doing something actually like, you know, making NASA pictures of Earth. But go look it up. It's a real thing. Go look it up. It's a real job. Guess plus me. Anyway, I think we strayed far enough off course. I'll leave that open so we can pop it up. We're doing really good as opposed to our average.
Freaking conspiracy theorist. Like, you're the reason why the algorithms are getting us, man.
Probably. Like all the guests are like, am I the reason your channel is shadow banned? I must be the reason your channel is I'm like, no, bro. I'm the reason. They don't understand comedy.
All this Russian propaganda, like I'm disappointed, man.
What was I going to tell you? Our average is really good this episode. We're only 23 minutes in, and we've already discussed, what, like 3-4 articles?
Yeah. I guess that's good.
Let's get to the next one. By the way, Bricks Info Portal, link in description to all of Drago's, whatever they're called. Jokes, articles, updates, premonitions. I think you can categorize them into like premonitions that you saw when you were like under a trance 20 years ago. and you remember our discussion about like seers of the future? Anyway, poll proves 86% of polls. Haha. Polls did a poll and they found out they were polls. Smarter than all of EU NATO leadership. What? Wait. I was making a joke before I read the whole thing. I have to read it now soberly. Poll proves 86% of Poles are smarter than all EU NATO leadership. Wait, what statistics is the EU NATO leadership? Try saying that quickly. EU NATO leadership intelligence based upon? Did they do like an IQ test? Are these things public?
Yeah,
Can we find out how smart they're not?
Yeah, we're getting IQ tests from them every single day, and we know it's fucking zero.
You mean when they say 360 and mean 180?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Among other things, among a bunch of other things that they say, and like all jokes aside, I'm like my editor actually agreed with this title. He usually changes it just to make sure that that it's pretty clear what the topic is. And this was a good way, to get people's attention because they really, a lot of people were thinking like, what is this about? And the poll is about how strong is the support for war with Russia. And the poll found that 86% of polls still
Okay,
want to
so
go to war
so
with Russia.
so it's a very high IQ test. Like you
Yeah,
got to be
yeah,
high IQ, and it requires some historical knowledge, which is good. It's better than the vaccine test.
yeah.
That one didn't require historical knowledge, just like a definition of what an actual vaccine is. Anyway, continue. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it is a litmus test of a lot of things, including intelligence or intelligence quotient. To me, this is a very good litmus test of how ready Europe is for war with Russia. Because for those who don't know, and I doubt that a lot of your viewers don't know, Poles are a tiny bit Russophobic, for historical reasons. Um, and even they don't want to go to war. So, what makes people think that a Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, French, Irish person would ever want to go to war with Russia if the people who are supposed to go to war with Russia first don't want to do that? Because they've seen, oh, look at the statistics. The Russian artillery is, leveling everything in front of it, or anyone stupid enough to go forward. So why would we want to do that? We don't want to do that. We dislike the Russians, but we're not stupid, right? So, as I said, it's a good litmus test of how successful a possible conscription of Europeans for war with Russia would be.
Guest no. Both no. Guest plus me. All right, one man show. And you got to see behind the scenes before I zoom into the memes. Haha. I can also bust a rhyme when you like. But I'm not gonna continue because you haven't subscribed and you haven't liked this video and you haven't given me a coffee. Go give me a coffee. Also, we haven't shown any memes from the National Meme Coordination Body in quite a while. Not all heroes wear capes. Reference to that. I found out subsequently that he was a father whose son got mobilized, in a Ukrainian way, got mobilized in a Ukrainian way, and
You mean democratic
died.
way?
The European way.
Yeah, yeah.
The,
The European values way, right?
the same kind of Europe that wanted that Lebensraum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that shake their fist like that GIF that compares it to what's his face? That painter. I can't remember his name.
The
He
Austrian
failed.
guy. Me
There
neither.
you go.
I can't remember what his name is. I know he just has.
I heard he was actually later in his life Argentinian. In any case,
Oh yeah.
Comedy show, nothing to do with reality. So yeah, shout out to National Meme Coordination Body of Serbia, obviously, on Telegram and also on Instagram. If you can't find them, I can't help you. When they want to do an interview or a talk, as I like to call them, then we can leave a link directly. Hi guys. Also, record dropouts in Bundeswehr. Dropouts, both plus TV. Dropouts
Yep.
like in school? Like in
No, in this
Bundeswehr
case,
school?
dropouts
they're
like people who are leaving the military, and this is actually relevant to the previous article. It shows that even in peacetime, well, let's call it peacetime for now, even in peacetime, Western militaries
lukewarm time, because it's not Cold War time.
lukewarm time.
It's not peacetime. It's not wartime. It's lukewarm time.
Yeah.
I just
That's a
coined
good.
that, I
That's
guess.
a good one. I'm going to remember that definitely. Maybe I'm even going to use it in an article. Who knows?
It's all yours, man.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to pay you royalties or something at some point when I get rich. What I wanted to say is, even in this lukewarm time, Western militaries cannot keep their soldiers in line or can't keep them at all, because people are leaving because they realize they're going to be sent to die in a pointless war for democracy. I mean, obviously, it is very, very. How do you say that? Well, pointless. What would
Important
be the
and
opposite?
poignant. Important
Yeah,
and
that's right.
poignant.
Yeah.
Crucial.
So crucial. Yeah. They can go and give their life for the beacon of democracy in Kiev. I really don't understand why they don't want to do it. Because a lot of people are in line waiting to be able to do that. It's just that we don't see them because they're stealth.
All right, I'm getting this next meme queued up. We've had flooding here in Serbia. This was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I've got this meme saved because like most of these memes are actually leftover memes from the first episode of when I came back to record most recently, which means they're already at least a month and maybe in between a month and now old. Now being the date of recording being the 8th of the 4th, 2025, technically, somewhere in the world. Anyway, Drago gets my joke. So in any case, I'm going to pop up another meme here from National Meme Coordination Body, also known as NMKT, that talks about the Vučić curse, kind of like the Zelensky curse, but it's a little bit different. Drago, you wanna, because you've become what is it called? Interpreter. You've become an interpreter.
Yeah.
Since you've started hanging around with professors. So you want to interpret for people here live? What this says?
The Jadar area is a part of Western Serbia where Rio Tinto and these other.
No. I didn't say explain. I said interpret. Interpret what's on screen, and then we'll get to explaining.
Like he published that the EU will put the Jadar, which is the area, of course, where the mines are supposed to be.
We'll get into explaining later. I'm testing you. This is your test.
Project. And then what happened is, there was a flood that destroyed part of the construction site and the pipes for the mine. So should I explain it now?
No, you did a terrible job. Like if this was an actual test, I would have given you like a 4 out of 10, and that would have been like with a +1 for effort. You know what I mean? But seriously speaking, I asked you to interpret. So the interpretation would have been just the clean interpretation of the what's it called, of the text online meme, without any explanation,
Okay.
So objavi da će da stavi Jadar u svoje strateške projekte. He announced that he will put Jadar into his strategic projects, and then voda odnese deo gradilišta i cevi za rudnik. Water takes away the part of the what's it called? Construction site. Yeah, and planned pipes for the what's it called?
Mine.
Rudnik. Mine. There you go. Thank you for, by the way, in that other talk we did, thanking all the other translators who do this and interpreters who do this live and on, because people don't get how hard it is. People
I'm gonna
people
do it
don't get
again.
how hard it is until you actually try it. And the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is why I wanted you to interpret first is because I wanted you to interpret in one go and show interpreting. And then we can explain all the details of what actually happened. Because I set it up kind of with like there was flooding here. You know what I mean? But the point is, so when the Vucic curse is in effect, we're doing like National Meme Coordination Body, like a 3-minute unpaid commercial. Hi guys. The point is, his curse, supposedly, AV as he's known, is audio video. I always thought that was funny. Anyway, AV's curse is basically when he says something, the opposite or the inverse happens. So when he says he supports something, that something gets ruined. You know what I mean? So like when he said he's gonna invest into his strategic portfolio, then all of a sudden his friend Trump Jr. turned on the harp, and there was a flood supposedly and accidentally just there. But I'm a conspiracy theorist, you know? Like, and this is a comedy show. We don't like to talk about reality. Reality gets people in trouble.
You know, it was a message from God to all those who support the project of Rio Tinto and these other mining companies or mining corporations.
Very good way to look at it.
The environment and the people in the environment, especially. So,
a very, very, how can I say, wholesome way to look at that situation. Yeah. Delusional EU NATO. Okay, we did that one. What else we got? Tensions escalate. Dun, 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 dun. Tensions escalate. Is war imminent? Are we going to have a war with Iran? Is this the end of the world? This should be the title of this video, so I can get all the clickbait possible and all the people who are into fear porn. No. Tensions escalate on Syria-Lebanon border as EU-NATO-backed massacres of minorities continue. This is your NPR voice talking to you in a mute and normal accent, so you can make your own judgments.
Yeah. This is how American media functions 100%. Jokes aside, this is the continuation of the story about Syria. It's just that this time there's, there was proof of escalation on the Lebanon border. And for those who don't know, Lebanon is home to, millions of Christians and other minorities, including Armenians, who have also suffered greatly under the
they're all Arabs, man. Where's
all Arabs.
Arabs?
Everyone in the Middle East is Arab.
There's no way that Arabs, there's something else. They're all just Arabs. What are you talking about? Like, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess that's
the
how
Balkans, the Balkans don't make a difference
them.
Either. The Balkans don't make a difference either, man, because the Balkans, they're all Slavs. And they're all like Balkan people. Like, who cares, right? It's unimportant stuff.
Especially in the fact that the Aramaic, the language of Jesus Christ, is spoken in this area, but that's just Arabic, right? I mean, Jesus was probably an Arab, I would say. Jokes aside, I really think this is how many people see that, especially in the West, those who don't understand the region. This is how they see all this, and they think, oh my God, like there are some people in the Middle East killing each other. Who gives a damn? Like, they are just savages and they like to kill each other. And this is what probably they thought about us, in the Balkans as well, especially in former Yugoslavia, without realizing that their governments are the ones who facilitated this slaughter of people. And, I'm talking about tens of millions in the last 20 to 30 years or even longer, if we're going back into history.
Madeleine Albright quote. Insert Madeleine Albright quote here.
Like 500,000 kids from Iraq. Who gives a damn? It's fine as long as we get democracy into the country, right?
How did that work out?
It worked out great, and especially for the Christians. The oldest Christian communities in the world got eradicated because of freedom and democracy. But again, this is perfectly fine because it brought freedom and democracy to these countries, and now they're very prosperous, especially Iraq, and especially now Syria and Lebanon and Libya, and all these other countries in the region. They're doing just this great, because of all this. For those now, speaking seriously, for those who think that now it's over, well, Syria is going to be the source of this the instability in the entire region, because every country that they border could be affected by this new democratic government, including Lebanon. And Lebanon also has Israel in the south. So I guess being the Lebanese now is a
Hamas,
very,
man.
very
Hamas and Hezbollah and Hamas and Hezbollah and Hamas propaganda. It's Hamas.
Yeah.
By the way,
yeah,
for the
I
Arabs,
guess.
that maybe for the Arabs.
So, like,
that
can
may be
you
listening,
imagine being? Can you imagine like being a Lebanese person now, and now you're like caught between a hammer and what else, like a rock and a hard
a
place?
coin,
I guess that's
a hammer and a coin.
the hammer and a coin, or a hammer and an anvil. So this is like what Lebanon is, and it could escalate at any point. And of course, Lebanon, especially Hezbollah, is now cut off from the Iranians. Not entirely, like they could still use the sea corridor to get there, but it's going to be much tougher to send any reinforcements or weapons there. So this could escalate, like it could become very ugly in the future, and especially for Christians and other minorities, as we already saw in Syria, and as we still know, because the massacres are still happening as we speak.
Yeah. We have to make a joke here because this is a comedy show, and you weren't too serious. Massacres of Christians and other people, people don't like that on comedy shows. So I have to go full conspiracy theory mode. And considering we found out about all the huge tunnels in Gaza, and considering we found out about all those tunnel bases that the Iranians have, why don't you think that it's possible that they're all connected with like ancient underground tunnels from like 300 years ago?
Or 1,000
Anunnaki,
years ago, or longer, who knows?
Or 5,000 years ago from the Anunnaki and the like aliens that were here that built the pyramids. No? Okay. I have a meme just in case. I fixed this. This is General Media Conglomerate, also known as the Working Brother chat room and comments on Telegram. This was from Slavs and Tracksuits, that fake one, not the real one, apparently. Block and career options: doctor, lawyer, priest, disgrace to the family. You can guess which one I am. Not a war hero, but fighting the war in the meme war and the comedy wars of the 20s. So yeah, Drago, welcome. Do you like my edit?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great, but unfortunately, I'm still the same as you. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a priest, so.
War hero. That's what we're aiming for, man. War hero. Never give up.
Let's say a war hero. Let's be generous.
Never give up, man. Never give up. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think that's enough comedy. That hit home. And not only for you and me, for a lot of the Serbs watching, it's true.
For a lot of people, like in the entire region, like millions.
Millions aren't going to watch this. Don't kid yourself. Even if this is pirated like 20 years from now, I don't think millions are going to watch it. You know what I mean? In any case,
shadow banning is going far, but who knows? We'll see.
I wonder what the statistics people actually see versus the statistics I see. I might do a test. That's an interesting idea. Get on Telegram and I'll send a link to an old video and ask you guys to send me screenshots of the video number of views that you see versus what I see, and we'll look behind the curtain of you two shadow banning. Also, you can leave a like if you want to help for the algorithm, not for my ego. I'm not doing this for the money or for the fame. France can't deploy new air-launched nuclear-tipped missiles before 2035. Those are the same missiles that we were talking about earlier.
Actually, these are the new ones. These are the new ones that are supposed to replace the ones I talked about. Mm-hmm. And officially it's called the ASN-4G, which means fourth generation nuclear air-to-ground missile. That's the meaning in French. I'm not going to even try to read French because I don't speak French, and I don't want to embarrass myself further. So the thing about this, it's the weapon is supposed to be a scramjet power air launch hypersonic cruise missile. So for those who don't know, scramjet is an acronym which means supersonic combustion ramjet. So this is a sort of like a air breathing engine that doesn't have any moving parts. And this one, that's what the ramjet is. And scramjet is the one where the internal combustion happens at a supersonic speed. So it pushes the missile even faster, and usually over Mach 5, which means that it's going to be hypersonic.
If I can put it to people in layman's terms, like if a normal jet engine basically is like within certain parameters, and some things can go wrong and some things are simple and it gives so much power, you take out all the things that can go wrong and you add simplicity and like no moving parts, like he said, and basically it requires a really high speed in order to get going, and then it produces a lot more thrust. And what he was talking about, scram, is instead of a ram, is basically like super boosting turbo nitro on top of that, and just like turning it up to 12. All right.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. Just what you said. Like it doesn't have any turbo fans or any other moving parts, as you mentioned, and of course it needs a booster because in order for a ramjet or a scramjet to function, you already need to have the necessary speed for them to work. So that means that you always need a booster, right? And the thing about this, the French are going to develop it by 2035, and that's like the optimistic deadline. And the funny thing to me is this is supposed to do what? Scare the Russians? Well, news flash for those who don't know, the Russians had this technology in the 1980s. So there was the KH-80 Holod hypersonic ramjet powered cruise missile that the Russians have made, like in the 1980s. Like they were like 50 years ahead of the rest of the world even then. Not even the US has been able to build such a weapon. I heard that the Chinese have managed to build one. They're like testing it and stuff. But the point is, like, the Russians are the only ones who have mastered this technology. And of course, the Zircon, the 3M22 Zircon, is the world's first and first operational scramjet powered weapon. And it goes Mach 9. And the French are going to do Mach 5 in 2035. So good luck with that.
In case you're watching this in the future, like 200 years down the road, and you call coffees or whatever you use that wakes you up now, instead of coffees, a zircon, this is the origin story of why they're called zircons. Because the Russians had to go to Paris again, basically. Now, the Greeks and the Turks, friends of ye oldie-timey, kind of. Greco-Turkish confrontation looming, could escalate and engulf the entire region. Should I do the NPR voice every time I read these?
It's up to you. I mean, it sounds great. So do
it. By the way, for people who don't know, I also used to work for KTV, as in Kuwait Television. I was their English news guy. First, I was going to be the just writing the texts, and then they needed somebody to read the texts. So I ended up being their English news writer and reader for TV and radio in pre-recorded segments. So I can actually do the neutral voice with actual KTV being, by the way, Ministry of Information, Kuwaiti Ministry of Information TV station of the Kuwait government. But yeah, I left for various reasons.
Let's not get into that, right?
Editorial differences. Let's leave it at that. Hi guys, if any of you are watching, if this got to KTV IPs, that'll be funny. You guys are the first guys to put me into space. You broadcasted me on like KTV, satellite TV, so my voice went into space, and after that I was unstoppable. Space. Anyway, Greco-Turkish confrontation looming. Could escalate and engulf the entire region. Tell us, Drago.
Yeah. This is actually connected to stuff that's happening to us because the Turks have decided to build this alliance with Albania, the so-called Kosovo, which is a narco-terrorist Albanian entity in NATO-occupied Serbian province of Kosovo and Metohija, and of all countries, North Macedonia. So I just want to, ask our North Macedonian brothers, what the hell are you up to, guys? Because these guys are not going to keep you, whole, because they are the allies of the Albanians, and Albanians have, very interesting schemes for North Macedonia or Macedonia.
Wait.
Right?
This couldn't be timed better. You're talking about Turkey and Greece and how it ties into us and the Macedonians, who are like, I'm sorry, Macedonians, but some of you seem to have been infiltrated by Bulgarians, and Bulgarians, we all know, have a tendency to stab Serbs in the back. I'm sorry, Bulgarians,
or
but
anyone.
It's true historically. Historically it's true. I don't know about anyone, but I know some things.
Well, they did it to us in, the Second Balkan War, and also to Greece. So, yeah.
In any case, historically speaking, nothing against any Bulgarians watching here. Zborajem bulgarski be, ade be sega, ne se šegujeme tuka. Anyway, I lived with Bulgarians for a very long time. This is one of the languages that I picked up in my life story. In any case, you're saying how the Turks and the Bulgarians, Macedonians, should chill out, and it reminded me of how the Turkish Pikachu protests got their branding, and as soon as they got their branding, within like 5 hours, the Serbians. Wait, I have to explain what dinstati means. So, do you want to explain first of all what pumpaj means? Because how they're pumping.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
It means pump it, and of course, it was picked up as this sort of motto of the protesters in Serbia, and of course that was accidental. It's not like they have teams of media experts who are working on these things. It was completely accidental.
Puddinger's cat had a video about that I shared a while ago. I should pop up that video for the next recording. For
those who didn't get it, I was being sarcastic, obviously. So,
man, you gotta be informed. You gotta understand humor. You gotta understand subtones. Otherwise, I don't know why you're here. But you who are here and have made it 52 minutes in, you're amongst the 16% of subscribers. So thank you. We salute you. So as we were saying, the protesters, who are definitely not coordinated by anybody and are totally organic and not satanic in any way, came up with the "we're gonna pump it up" thing. So they pumped it up, and the slogan was "Pump it, pump it. Are you pumping it, or are you not pumping it? If you're not pumping it, you're like a sandwich eater from the government." So soon after that, when they got tired of pumping, because everybody's knees of these students, and they're old and they have knees too, so they probably got tired of pumping. So they went to the old jihao of the Chinese Wuhan virus era, which by the way was also linked to Fauci. That's why he called it the China virus. But let's not get into that. What are we talking about here? We're talking about Turks and Pikachu. So the Serbs here, who are so not led by anyone and willing to protest everything that they come across, including that they want a transitional government, the latest demand. Oh, we didn't even get to the airport stuff. We'll get into the airport stuff next recording. There's no time this time. But no protesters were killed by airplanes at the time of recording. Let's put it this way. Time of recording is 1:23:9:4:25. In any case, where Where were we with this very, very elaborate joke? It's like it takes like 10 minutes to set up this joke, but the joke is perfect. So these people who are not led by anyone,
and have
came
no
up
teams,
with
media experts and stuff like that.
yes, as you were saying. Thank you for interrupting and getting me back on track. Had the idea to start doing the Jihad Wuhan, jumping on their balconies and banging pots and pans and playing their vuvuzelas at random times or at organized times in order to raise the cholesterol level and cortisol level of everyone in society at scheduled times, which is basically terrorism. Like, if you define terrorism, look up the actual definition. That's what terrorism is.
Russian propaganda.
I know it's North Korean fucking propaganda. Where's my North Korean hat? When you talk, I'm gonna go off screen, get my North Korean hat, and I'm gonna be North Korean propaganda this time.
Don't forget your Chinese bag, you spy.
No. This time it's only North Korean propaganda. So, that's how serious the situation's got. It's like Kim Jong-un levels. It's not even like Lukashenko levels anymore. In any case, Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-un? I can't remember. In any case,
Kim Jong-un.
All right. Il is the father, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So we're back to Turkey. And we're in Serbia, and we're talking about the people on their balconies and making pots and pan noises. Go find China protests, pots and pans, Shanghai. We showcased it in another talk. Quite annoying, I might add. Very ineffective in actually getting anything done, other than raising the national level of anger, maybe. Which might be the goal, after all. So they get on there, and they're calling this Dinstaying. To Dinsta means, how would you explain Dinstati in English? Because you're my go-to translator now. I think it's stir fry or
I would say stir fry is the closest thing to it. I mean, the word Dinstati, as far as I know, it's like German. So that would be
das ist fantastischen Koinzidenzen, ja. I didn't know this fact, ja. This is fantastic, yes. I approve this message for the committee of the students, yeah. I am not German, I have Croatian descent. Comedy show. Any resemblance to reality is purely fucking coincidental at this point. 57 minutes in. Go on, Drago.
Yeah, you sound like what's his name? Damn it.
Is he Croat?
Reisner. Marcus Reisner.
Oh, Marcus Reisner. That's my go-to German voice. I don't make any distinction between Germans and Austrians, as they don't amongst themselves, probably. Ha ha. Did you get that one, Germans? I really don't know how this is still
up. The official translation is stewing, which makes no sense to me at all.
Stewing? No way. Yeah. The official translation is stewing?
Yeah, when I typed in these
Time out. That's unbelievable, because to stew in English would be in Serbia. Well, what I'm trying to say is, when you're getting somebody to stew, it means you're boiling them, basically. You're trying to piss them off. Right. You know, you're trying to piss them off.
Either. It makes no sense to me either, because I just typed in Dinstanje on Wikipedia, and when I go translate to English, it says stewing. It makes no sense to me.
It makes all the sense to me. We'll get into the linguistic details another time, but we gotta finish this joke. This is mind-blowing stuff that we're discovering here with you live as we're recording. Am I recording? I'm recording.
I just have to say one more. Braise. I've never heard of this word before. Braise. I have no idea what this thing is.
I'm not. I'm not that much of a cook in English, at least that often that I braise, but I do know what stewing is, and stewing, like as far as cooking, and I also know what stewing a person is. So they're stewing everybody, and they're calling it stewing, and stewing in Serbian is tudinsta. So when somebody the like first person possessive I guess conjugation of tudinsta would be dinstachu, which coincides with Pikachu, and we've got the next day, literally, when that AI image, by the way, it's an AI image with Batman. Like, I posted that image on Instagram, and I said, I don't know how real this is, on Instagram as my caption. And then Instagram gave me a warning, and it said, this has been identified as AI content, and we will put an AI content warning on your photo, but you can still share it. And I was just like, that's very interesting. So that Pikachu and Batman and police van photo, you'll know it from Telegram if you're there, is an AI photo. But
and the bloody hand that doesn't give any
hold on. I didn't get there yet. Man. Hold on. You have to deliver the joke in the proper way. It's not just about making the joke. You have to deliver the joke. It's half of it is in the delivery. So the next day, after this breaks the news with the, like we're breaking the 1 hour mark, I'm well aware of that. Pikachu broke the news and was the branding. It's not like they're all one big organization or get directives from like the Reuters feed. Yes, I worked in a news company. I know how it functions. Or I worked in the news for the government, let's say. I know how it functions. Dinstachu. So the next day, Pikachu is there going Dinstachu, as in I will Dinsta, as in stew you. So I'm gonna stew you. And in the background is a fucking, a freaking, my brother might be watching. He gets nervous when I use cuss words, so sorry, bro. Anyway, also shout out for the memes that you send off camera. Thank you, brother. And thank all the other brothers here too, including Nimakita, who this upcoming one is from. So in the morning I sent the Institute to Nimakita, and I'm like, dude, this is not fake, this is not like a joke, this is a real thing. The actual protest people posted this as their propaganda with the Albanian bloody hand in the background. And this is where Drago says, yes, that is the bloody hand that the Albanian blah 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 Mjaft what are they called? NGO started in 2001, 2002. Go look it up if you don't know. If you're new here and you like to pump it.
I was just saying it doesn't look like something NED would make, definitely. So
yeah, we've not seen any other NED memes. I mean protests with the bloody hand. And then Nimakita comes out with this video. Serbs will already recognize the seat up here, and I gotta make sure that the audio is on for this one. Audio at 125 just in case. Turks, I got a question for you.
O Turci! Ima među vama pičkama neka slobodna za stiskavac.
The Serbs will get it. For you guys, yeah. He's inquiring of the Turks if amongst them if amongst their softer kind there is any who would like to cuddle. To transcribe it, or maybe what was it saying? Interpret? Yeah, to interpret it for the people.
Well, interpreting.
Watching.
Let's say he's just calling up people for a dance, a very nice dance, like a very romantic dance, because this is what we evil Serbs like to do, especially to Turks.
I have no idea what he's talking about. I grew up abroad, so I'm not up with these Serbian customs. Where is Drago and Working Brother? Should we do, considering we've already gone over the hour and we've got how many more articles here? Greco-Turkish. What were you saying? Did you finish? Did you finish
Yeah, I
your
just wanted to
Greco-Turkish
mention
thing?
one more thing regarding the article, because it's not just about Turkey and Greece. So the Turks are making an alliance with North Macedonia, with the Albanians from the so-called Kosovo and from Albania. And at the same time, Croatia is making an alliance with Albanians from Albania and the so-called Kosovo. So now we have, and also the Croatians and the Turks are also like, communicating and working very closely in terms of military. So we have like these cross-cutting alliances, which are pretty much going through the middle of the Balkans, and are used to surround both Serbia and Greece with enemies. And we have Serbia, which is building an alliance with the Hungarians that also the Slovaks could join at some point. And certainly, I mean, not certainly, but maybe the Romanians would also, if Georgescu was allowed to, come to power. We'll see what happens with Simeon. So the point is, also we'll see what happens with the Bulgarians. But given their choice of allies, in previous centuries, I would say that they're going to choose Turks over any of us. So like, it's going to be interesting in the future because we might see an alliance between Serbia, Hungary, Greece, maybe Slovakia. Who knows what's going to happen with Romania against all these other countries. So this is why I said that the entire region could be engulfed in some sort of a confrontation in the foreseeable future.
You're a Russian propagandist, and Americans just spread peace and democracy, and the European Union is good, and it's not funding jihadis, and stop, these are not movies that you see on TV. This is real life. You can't imagine things. You should see a psychiatrist and then see if this is the kind of work that you want to be in, because maybe this isn't for you. And thank you all for watching this to the end. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge, if you're watching. Overkill. I doubt you're watching. The person whose message this is to. Overkill. Su-35S and S-400. Work. If you think this message is for you, message me privately, directly, and tell me. And let's see how many people think that I sent them a secret message, and or how many of my actual guests watch any of these shows. Overkill. Su-35S and S-400 work in tandem, reportedly. Shoot down Kiev regime's F-16. And before Drago says it, this is really old news. Yes, I remember, Drago, when you told me this a while ago, but it doesn't change the fact that it's important. It's worth covering. And the mainstream news will probably cover it in a year or 2 years, maybe, if they get to it, and if it's a really slow news day, if it's a Thursday or Friday.
As we all know, the Kiev regime usually flies very low, so that this makes it a bit difficult for long-range SAM systems to pick up these aircraft on radar. So what the Russians have started doing, they started using the Su-35S and these other air superiority fighters to actually relay the information on low-flying aircraft to the SAM battery sites. So in this case, the Su-35S, which has this X-band monopulse NO35 or N035 Urbis hybrid AESA radar, it can actually move its radar antenna towards the ground and just pick up targets that are flying either low or they're actually on the ground.
Look down capability, huh?
Yeah, look down, shoot down capability for those who know the military terms. So what they did is they relayed information on the F-16 to the S-400 SAM site, which then fired one of its missiles. We don't know which one. It could be the 40N6, it could be the 48N6E, but whichever it is, to shoot down the F-16. Several, prominent military analysts and people who worked in the military confirmed this. So I presume, it's pretty solid info, and we know, they've done this before with AWACS, Russian AWACS aircraft and stuff like that. So it's very, very possible. And I mean, I wouldn't discard the information because it wouldn't be the first time, as I said.
Sounds like Russian propaganda and like stuff you hear on the Serbian subway.
It is.
The Serbian subway that has a direct line to Iran. We've got those tunnel boring machines way before Musk invented them. Both plus TV. Speaking of my brother also sent in this meme. But this is old news for people who are watching the price, because the price is like, what, 3,200 something by the time we're recording, and probably 300 by the time I leave this out. Leave a comment. What is the actual gold price today? It'll be funny for people watching this video 20 years later. Drago, what is your take? What is your take on Trump's tariffs and how they're sending every market in the world into like a spin?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing, and it also explains why gold is going sky high, because every time when all the other assets, which are not really that stable, when they go down, people just start buying gold because it's the eternal asset. Like, it's the only way you can ensure that economies are stable. And that was one of the reasons why the Roman Empire had only 2 economic crises in its entire 2,200 years history. So what's happening now, it's a bit it's a bit funny to me, because these tariffs are not actually going to help the U.S. economy. People who are expert economists, they might disagree. I'm not sure. I'm not an economic expert, but to me, it makes no sense that this is going to help the U.S. because it's going to be the U.S. citizens, the Americans, regular people, who are going to pay the price of the tariffs, because all the goods that are being imported into the U.S. are going to be more expensive, because the Chinese and whoever is making this stuff that the Americans are buying, they're not going to cut their own profits, just to keep the price the same. So we'll see, I guess.
I'm also going to flash up this thing that was sent in. I can't remember who it was sent in by, but about Zastava News, about the tariffs. I brought it up last time that we were talking when we were here with Tim Kirby. Yes, I know we're already 1 hour and 12 minutes into this talk, but what can I do now that we've gone over the limit? We might as well get done with all of these articles, so we don't have, there's another 2, so we don't have to have leftovers for next time, because we've still got leftovers from between last download and this recording. So yeah, we're always behind schedule but ahead of time. Behind schedule but ahead of time. I should make that another t-shirt. If you get this far, send more of that in the merch suggestions box in the chat room. So yeah, this was sent in chat about Zastava, and now you're seeing behind the scenes. I'm using the Windows default picture viewer here, so that I can zoom in a little more and get this on screen properly. Important update from Zastava Arms USA. Blah 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 blah. Liberation Day. Duty tax 37. You can pause and read if you want to. 5 to 20 on U.S. goods. 74% figure. Does this mean that all your Zastava stuff in the U.S. will increase by X amount? No, it does not. We will try and do the best, and we urge the Serbian government to work with President Trump's team. That's the gist of their message. But yeah, regarding your answer, you not being a money guy, I kind of am a money guy, or at least I was trained to be a money guy. I chose not to be a money guy because, fuck that. Once you read I can't remember what it's called. Oh yeah, Modern Money Mechanics. That report that I believe the Congress or the House of Commons or whatever did. about the Federal Reserve System. Once you read that and you have a understanding of what it says and actual economics, like you're in economics either to gain the system or to like make others look like a retard. And I'm not in the business, or it's not my character to do either of those things. So to answer you, from what I've seen, considering the crypto market went for like a nosedive, and there was a couple of those like clearings of the like cream on top of the stock market in the last week or so, I feel that these tariffs and their implications and the reactions of other people and the counter reactions that the Trump team, like the Chinese were like, oh, we're going to do the same to you. And Trump was like, oh yeah, I'm going to 75% you, So all of these games and so on, I think have been gamed out by Trump's team very far in advance. And I think there's some things that are going on that are not visible or not easily interpreted by most people who are casual observers of, the world. Drago?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like I'm not an economics expert, so there's only so much I can say about it. But it's just that, it's a bit funny to me. On the other hand, I think there's a lot of disinformation, and this is what the Zastava US Arms USA said. Like, I don't know where the number 74% of Serbian tariffs on American goods comes from, because first of all, I don't think we have a lot of goods from the US coming into Serbia. Most of our let's say trading partners.
I don't know. Did you look at that? Europe. Did you look at that post? Did you look? I know you were busy that day doing recordings. And stuff,
but I did look at it. I did look at it. According to the post, the U.S. was actually going easy on countries because, like, if a country had 10% tariffs, the U.S. would, reciprocate.
Yeah, but it wasn't that simple. It wasn't that simple. To a layman, it may look like that at first, but there's many like subcategories, and the tax on Serbia is not like the reciprocal tax is only, or tariff, sorry. The reciprocal tariff is only a section of what the tariffs are. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on, and the way it was presented, I think, was originally presented not to be clear, so that people who are looking for like those kind of details would not be able to find them that easily. In any case, we'll leave the money mechanics of modern society and geopolitics to another talk. We've got a couple of more articles here. Where is U.S. attack? Oh, wait. I should do the CNN voice. Is the U.S. attack on Iran imminent? Are we going to see World War III? Is this the end of the world? This is the latest breaking news from CNN and all your MSM, BS Music, Media, MTV Generation News.
I think you're going to spend more time doing that than I will explaining the article. So, yeah, for those who don't know, the U.S. is using the Diego Garcia, which is like the British air base. I mean, let's say naval air base, naval slash.
I would like to look at it as an occupied
island in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Island, as an occupied barely island.
yeah, in the middle of the Indian Ocean that's been used by the British for centuries, essentially. And then, of course, now the U.S. as well, because they have a very important base there. And what the U.S. did, it sent like 6 or 7, I think it was 7 B-2 strategic bombers.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It's tradition. I have to interrupt. But just so people know, those, I think they're called the Chagos and something islands, right? And those people actually, when they were deported and kicked out by the British, they can go live anywhere. So they went to live in the UK. They actually still have a community, and they're actually still like consider themselves Chagos, and they still want their fucking land back. You know what I mean? There might be 1,000 of them, but they were an actual people, and they had land, and then they got kicked out. You know, it's like Kosovo and Palestine. I mean, never mind.
I mean, but you know, fuck them, because it's more important to have nuclear bombers, you know, that you can use to destroy other countries. Because I mean, who gives a damn about native peoples, right?
They're evil other countries. They're not just other countries. It's the axis of evil, course. And it's run by the mullahs. Can you imagine being a mullah? Like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
And not being Sunni?
I mean, it's horrifying, you know. And then imagine being Persian. Like, what did those guys know? Like, it's not like they have like the one of the oldest civilizations in history. Like, losers.
So yeah, the World War III is imminent. They're gonna bomb Iran now. Is that what the article says? Like now, when I click end recording,
I'm not
it's
really
gonna happen.
saying that. I was just pointing out the fact that they've sent a bunch of these nuclear capable and nuclear armed assets, including submarines with the W-76-2 nuclear warheads with a very low yield, to the region. And they've started attacking all the other Iranian allies in the region, including the Houthis, or the Ansar Allah, as they're known officially. So you know, it's.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have like a serious question now. Because you're talking about low yield nukes. Has anyone seen a live firing test of this low yield nuke? Does
not
the
that I know
exist?
of.
Okay.
Second
question.
Well,
second question. No, wait. No, you answered my first question. My second question. Do you remember the footage? It was like maybe now 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, of like a purple fireball in Yemen?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think there is a possibility that this low yield nuke has already been used on Yemen? Considering you mentioned submarines, and submarines can fire from anywhere and they just like continue along their way, and that never occurred to me before when examining this whole Yemen purple flame scenario. For people who don't know, look it up. It actually happened. Drago, go on.
Well, you know, I've heard of this before. I can't confirm or deny it. However, there should have been some other signs that this was used, you know, particularly radiation.
Couldn't it be like a clean bomb, like the Russians use or have supposedly, like with no radiation?
Well, it should be like a very.
Is it a neutron bomb? I think it's called a neutron bomb, right?
Yeah, but in this case, there of course there are those, but this is not a neutron bomb. This is a regular bomb, regular nuclear weapon. It's just that it has this so-called variable yield capability. So its yield is supposedly between 2 and 7 kilotons. If it's 2, that's like 10 times less powerful than the Nagasaki bomb. So, you know, like this thing could look like a conventional explosive, you know, from afar. But if you're closer, of course, you would still pick up radiation because it is a plutonium device. So the whole point is you couldn't really hide radiation, you know, of this thing unless it's been like so long that the radiation died down. But still, if you go to the exact place where it hit, you would still pick up some radiation. I really don't know.
Let me put it to you this way. Do you know if the IAEA has been to the site of that explosion and checked for radiation? Because I sincerely doubt.
I mean, I'm open to all interpretations because, you know, the area that they hit supposedly is still under the control of the Houthis, and of course they're always blocked, and they would never allow the IAEA or anyone to go to that place. And I doubt they have Geiger counters. On the other hand,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like basically, I doubt that they have Geiger counters and that anybody's checked this. You know.
but on the other hand, the Iranians are allied to them, and can you imagine the propaganda win for Iran if they could prove that the U.S. had to use a nuclear weapon against the Houthis and then lose, a ship or two or something? I doubt that the Iranian agencies would, and I'm talking about the media agencies, would just let this go. It would be like a story of a century. I doubt that they would, hide it. So, I mean, if they had any proof.
In reality, I'd agree with you. But in the world we live in, and retrospectively, I'd have to be the devil's advocate and be like, Russia would be the same kind of reaction for getting their plane shot down by a Turk. You know what I mean? And the Russians were like, man, no problem. Oh, you want to kill our ambassadors? Okay. And the Iranians who are watching, if there's any Iranians watching, leave a comment. Because we all know what this means in Iranian. In any case, the Iranians are watching. They're taking their time. They made their promise. They'll keep their promise.
Well, I mean, yeah, they are just like the Chinese. They are an ancient civilization, so definitely, time is something that they would certainly use as an asset.
U.S. is going to bomb Iran. Did we cover this this article?
Yeah, I think we did. That's it.
All right. I think we did it justice too. Oh, this one doesn't have. Why did the picture not load? Hold on. Control R. Okay, the picture loaded. Pentagon chief nominee wants to expand NATO's nuclear sharing policy. Dun, 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 dun. Nuclear sharing, as we all like to refer to here, this is my infomercial voice. Nuclear sharing, where you can have a nuke. You can't decide when to use it, who to use it against, but if we decide to use it when we want, from your territory, you get nuked. And that's called sharing a nuke. Drago, take it away.
Well, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. It's in a funny way, by the way. So, the interesting thing is this guy on the picture. His name is Dan Kane. He's a 3-star general. So officially, he shouldn't even be able. He shouldn't even be eligible to run the Pentagon. However, because one of the prerequisites of becoming the chief of the Pentagon or the chief of the Joint Staff. Joint Chief of Staff is that you are a 4-star general and that you are an active officer. This guy is retired. He's a 3-star. He's retired as a 3-star general, but Trump could, issue an executive order and make him the chief of the Pentagon. He has the legal right to do that, or he could, get the Congress to give him the 4-star rank and also reinstate him in the U.S. military service, and then, of course, give him the status of the Pentagon chief. The interesting thing is, this is going to be the next, Pentagon chief, most likely. This guy essentially is proposing that the U.S. expands its nuclear sharing policy. So for those who don't know, NATO nuclear sharing is essentially what you said, is the U.S. sends its B-61 variable yield thermonuclear gravity bombs to bases in various European countries, namely the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Italy, and Turkey. Those 5 countries where officially, those countries could use these nuclear weapons to deliver strikes at a target that attacks NATO. And they're they're deployed in all the bases from Klein and Brogel in Belgium to Incirlik in Turkey. This is on paper. In reality, the U.S. controls these nukes. So, as you mentioned, the only good thing about this for the U.S., obviously, is that other countries are also going to get nuked, not just the U.S. So some of the nukes are going to be diverged away from the U.S. Homeland. And now this guy is saying, well, maybe we should put them in Poland, and maybe we should put them in Finland and these other countries, maybe even the Baltic states. I mean, what could go wrong, right? But this is the funny thing to me. Why would you do that? And why would Trump support a guy like this, given the fact that he keeps talking against nuclear war? So Trump is definitely making some, funny moves.
Trump, man. Trump's hilarious in many ways, but nowhere near as hilarious as some of the people that we've got in chat on Telegram. By the way, get on Telegram. That's where all the stuff really happens. Chat is at the deep end of the pool, so don't go there if you don't know how to swim. And be polite, because people don't take kindly to rude people in my chat. Also, this was sent in by Citizen 1001, who you may know has been sending in memes from the early days of working, brother. Everything is getting better. Keep working, brothers. So, yeah, I just wanted to thank all the brothers out there working. And, yeah, I guess we'll get to that other video we got queued in another recording. Wow, there's so much recording to be done. It's a shame we won't get that done now. Also, I wanted to pop this up there before we get to our last article. This is that commercial that I now made into one commercial. No pressure. If you feel like it, you can buy me a coffee or join the Patreon for absolutely no benefits other than getting to know that you are supporting in some kind of ethereal way with ones and zeros the working brother. All right, now that is out of the way, I can close that one permanently and get to our final article, checking browser before accessing Infobricks. There we go. Chrome does not like me accessing Infobricks. Or Infobricks doesn't like being accessed from Serbia. It's one of the two. In any case, both plus TV. Tensions escalate. Dun, 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 dun. Turkey, Israel race to carve up Syria. Syria?
Yep.
Does that even exist anymore? Or is it like Yugoslavia? Just a figment of people's imaginations?
Well, I guess it's both, a little bit of both, because what's going on in Syria, apart from the slaughter of normal people.
Sub-question. Is it closer to Iraq or is it closer to Libya? This is so bad humor. This is like fucked up humor. Like it doesn't get more fucked up than this.
You know, I think again it's somewhere in between. Like it's not exactly Libya with like two governments and like a bunch of Bedouins and these other like people who live in tents and in the desert. But it's not also like Iraq, which is more composed and
more Kurdish, more Kurdistani.
Yeah, more Kurdistani, exactly. So it's something in between because it has its own Kurdistan effectively, but it also has a bunch of dysfunctional state institutions run by democratic former opposition. Anyway, the point of the article is, that the U.S. Is trying now is training its terrorists to take over certain parts of Syria, which are very close to Damascus, namely air bases. And then there's also Turkey, which is trying to take over air bases, but the Israelis are have something to say about that, so they are accidentally dropping bombs on these bases that the Turks are trying to take over. So there were, I think, 13 or something of Turkish engineers who were killed in one of these Israeli airstrikes.
Oh no, the Turks are dying. Oh no, look at me crying.
So like we have the and the interesting thing is the Americans have like rebranded some of the terrorists that were stationed in Al Tanf, which is like the part of the southeastern Syria that was like a place where a lot of these democratic opposition guys were appearing, especially ISIS, and attacking the Syrian army. So now, as people know, there was a so-called Free Syrian Army that was pretty pro-Turkish. Now there's a faction within this Free Syrian Army that's been named Syrian Free Army. So it's not FSA, it's SFA.
You're joking. They couldn't even come up with a different word, so they just changed the order.
They're becoming very, very non-inventive, and like
You're saying Trump's cutting the USAID funding is working on their think tank naming groups.
Yeah. Like the media guys got fired, so now you have the military guys naming stuff, and it's not very creative.
I think you might be on the dot.
Onto something, right? So of course, because it's not the FSA, thank God, now it's the SFA, so they're more democratic. They're taking over these air bases where the U.S. wants to make sure they can set up their own bases and be close to Damascus, probably not to exert pressure on the democratic government. And then, of course, as I said, there are the Turks who are also trying to get close to Damascus, but, the Americans already were already there before them. And of course, the Americans would never work against the Israelis, but they still don't want to, anger the Turks. So they're keeping themselves on the other side, while the Turks and the Israelis might actually start killing each other, which is crazy because they're also working together, especially in Azerbaijan. So we'll see how that's going to work.
Tanya from chat sent this in. The Serbian Sanya, not the foreign one. Or the other one's Sonia, maybe. I'm not sure. In any case, MAGA Miga joke. I don't know what it's about. Could have something to do with what you were just discussing. Also, that was the last article. Believe it or not, everyone. We have finally done this. 1 hour and 35 minutes and 17 seconds in. The outro music is playing, which people who are here often know is the outro music, not the hang up music. I've got a last visual that I want to let everyone have as a goodbye and as a thank you for watching this to the end. No pressure. Thank you for staying. Drago, as always, it's been a pleasure. Do you want to say anything? And don't say you've said enough, because you may have said enough, but there's always something else to say to sum it all up. So tell us, anything to say?
I hope that the image that you just showed, is actually reminding people of Pulp Fiction or some movie like that. And if I point a gun at you, I'm definitely going to be smiling because I'm a good guy.
Well, I smile often anyway, and
of course I'm a research fellow, so I have to smile. I have to be cordial and formal, and
Man, you keep bringing that up, man. Ever since that happened, it's your ego, man. It's getting to you.
Yeah.
Inside joke. For those that know, they know. And if this offends you, then I'm really sorry you watched till the end, and you should have messaged me earlier. You should have messaged me earlier when, I don't know why you didn't message earlier when I said message.
I forgot.
It's better to be direct and talk things out, always.
Yeah.
That's why the Russians invited Napolitano.
Makes sense.
Anyway, thanks guys for stopping by, sticking together through this. Like, share, subscribe, you know what to do. I'm not going to tell you to go check out the Patreon and all that. Drago, again, thank you for the marathon of patience that you have had. This might be a record, I don't know, I forget, but it's definitely one of the longer ones. Share, see you later. Bye-bye. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.